Alrighty, welcome to the coaching call, January 29th, 2016. We'll go ahead and get started here pretty soon. Just let me get everything set up. Alrighty, so a lot of times, I don't remember the exact name of the battle. There was a movie out of it. I may have some of my facts wrong in here, but when you're looking at there's a battle that went on between the U.S. Army and Afghanistan Army. And it was a small platoon of about 10. I may have my numbers here wrong, but that doesn't take away from the moral of the story. So, and we have 10 U.S. troops that got basically attacked. They were in a bunker with about 250 Afghanistan soldiers, which all had these machine guns and high-powered weapons, and they're just blasting away at them. Bah, 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 bah. And these guys were specialized as kind of being more or less kind of snipers. Well, they ended up actually winning the battle against all odds. Okay, so we have over 200. These people just like bah, 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 with all these machine guns and fire everywhere. Versus these guys have limited number of bullets, and they weren't prepared for this anyways. They didn't think they were going to get ambushed by over 200. They're completely outnumbered. But because they focused on precision, they were very focused on precision. So they would wait. They just let them just fire away, blah blah blah, and they'd wait for them just to kind of relax for the right moment, and they just tick them off one at a time. Bing, 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 bing. And they ended up winning the battle. And there was a few casualties with the U.S. side, but overall they ended up winning against complete odds on the end of it. So this is kind of something, a theme that I want to talk about and share with you, because it has to do with how a lot of us run our business. When we run our business, we just tend to like just kind of blanket areas that we're doing. We're not focused and precise on what the action is that we're doing. And I just got back from a mastermind, so this is kind of leading into the importance, and I want to give some examples that will stick with your mind on examples of why it's so important to stay focused on your business and to work with others, not just be a machine gun. You want to work deadly accurate with your abilities, with your efforts on this end of it, to really help you out with your business. Anybody know what this is? Whoop, I may have lost the audio. Hold on. I know I lost the audio. Wait a second. Okay, audio should be back. Sorry about that. Okay, so one thing that, does anybody know what this is, first of all? Okay, good. So does anybody know why a fighter practices this? It takes a lot of work to do it. It's quite different than hitting a big bag where you've got maybe a coach holding the bag behind you and you're taking hard blows at it. This takes a lot of speed, and it takes a lot of what? It takes a lot of precision. Okay, it's one of the reasons that prize fighters do this, is because they do this because it helps them stay focused, helps them to get more precision on here. Take a look at, I'm going to show you a quick, this is an example of here. Let me use that new hardware. This is an example of someone who uses a lot of precision. Watch this. Okay, so the reason I wanted to kind of demonstrate that is again, one of the reasons that Mike Tyson was so good is not only does he have a really powerful punch, but he's deadly accurate. He's hitting for that small of the chin, either on the right or left hand side, to get that head just to spin and knock. shake the brain inside the head and knock you out. Because he's got precision. He doesn't just come out just blazing like a machine gun. Okay, he is very precision on that. And it's really important to stay that way in business. So I want to kind of what this mastermind did for me, and I encourage you to join masterminds as well. And I'm going to share with you the exact PDF that we used during the mastermind. So, and I'm going to share with you some of the things that I learned through it. And you can get this PDF. I'll drop it in the chat box later. It'll also be beneath the replay as well. So, but really, a lot of entrepreneurs, because there are so many opportunities out there, it's really quite staggering when you start to look at it. But a lot of us out there, when we're running our businesses, we're doing these things, we tend not to be precise. And so what masterminds help you do, and hopefully what this worksheet will help you do in your own business, is it'll act as kind of a punching bag to get you more precise. I guess it's called the speed bag or something, I'm not quite sure. But it'll act like a speed bag. So it helps you get more precise in your business, where you're going, and in your life and stuff like that. So let me pull up the PDF here, and again, I'll throw a link in towards the end, and there'll also be one on the replay as well. Let me just see where the heck did I put that on the end of it. Just out of curious, how many people, just put a 2 in the chat box if you regularly attend a private mastermind with a group of your peers that are either where you want to be or are 2 steps ahead of where you want to be. Ideally, you want to be kind of the dumbest person in the room. You're going to get the most out of it. Okay, so let me just do this for the PDF. Okay, so some people do, but not as many. Everybody should be typing in that they are. So here this is. I'm going to just go over some of these on here. This is the intro we did on here. So just a quick share on here, cool things that we learned and achieved in the past year, share anything that you could have improved on. So just a quick intro, went around the room. If you watch some of my YouTube videos, you'll see I did film. There's just a few of us. We got a little apartment in Madrid. And the reason we went to Madrid and didn't come to Barcelona or one of the other member cities is that there really is something to getting at least 100 or 200 miles or halfway around the world to kind of see your business more clearly, and that there really is something to that. So I would encourage you too, if you have a chance to attend any kind of events or something like that, and if you're just thinking, well, the event or the mastermind is not in my city, so I'll just wait for one to come around, and that's just wrong thinking. That's displaced thinking on that. But you really rather, if you can relocate, get out, change your environment, there really is something to that that allows you to think more clearly, be more productive. So, anyways, I mean, one of the things I share a lot more, but I'm just going to kind of briefly share some of these things here to kind of give you some ideas about, what you can think about and stuff. And then, but one of the things that I learned in 2015 is that my team, my business doesn't need me hardly at all. Quite frankly, at the least amount possible. Last year, from my B2B pay-per-call business, which is not the coaching business that I'm doing right now, but my B2B business, I ended up, because I was just getting kind of burnt out, I ended up taking a couple months off. Business ran just fine. That couple months led to 9 months. My business still ran great and still grew. So that's one of the things on that was something that I learned. There's a reason that could happen is because I've set up a good team. Without a good team and good people, that could have never happened. But anyways, and this is on here, clarity, bigger picture, bigger directions. And I'm not going to go through every single one of these. I want to go through the questions and stuff, but I'll just kind of briefly run through these on here. And that's a clarity, bigger picture. Summary of plans, both your business and life, next quarter, 1 year, 3 and 10 year. Now, this is, when I first looked at this, I stared at this for a couple of days, literally. So don't be surprised if you do the same thing. especially the 10-year part, the 3-year part. 1 year I was a little bit clear, and then the first quarter part I was a little bit clear on that. But this is for life. Okay, this is things in your life on here. And one of the things that I have on my quarterly and 1 year for life is that I want to spend more quality time with my kids. I do spend a lot of time, but I want to start spending some individual time with each one of them. And I think any parents out there kind of understand that no matter what age they are, 5, 15 years old or whatever, you always want to try to feel more connected. And the best way, I think, to connect with kids at any age is not to try to ask them kind of silly, open-ended questions to try to get them to connect with you, but rather you just connect with them. You share some personal things about maybe how you feel about them or in your life with them, and you're basically leading by example. So, so that was an important thing. That's a quarter thing, and in order to help do that, I laid out kind of some realistic goals about how I would actually plan and implement that out and stuff. So, the other thing on that end of it is that the 1 year goal with the kids is I want for my 2 older kids. I run a very successful Amazon store and a drop shipment business, just to diversify my income and my knowledge and stuff like that. And I've built up my team good enough with my B2B paper called Lead Business that I don't have to be like in the trenches all the time, as I talked about earlier. But I want to, as a project, have my 2 older kids, 11 and 13. We will open up together. They get to make the decisions, all this kind of stuff. We'll open up together a Amazon store. They get to pick the product, all that kind of stuff. We'll be over there anyways. So this summer we'll be over in Hong Kong. So I want to go over there. We'll go to some distribution places where they have events and stuff like this, where you can look at different products and stuff like that. So I want them to experience that whole thing because I want them to have. I want to support them in whatever they do, but I want to make sure that they know that they can support themselves without having to do a JOB. In this day and age, you just don't need a JOB. You really don't. I mean, maybe you do when you're starting out, but so anyway, so that was there's a lot of other life stuff too, but that's just a couple things I wanted to share. Business on that. I did quite a lot of things on here. One of the things that I'm going to be looking at implementing in is I kind of want to develop the Callzoo brand into what I really feel proud about the Callzoo and stuff is that unlike other kind of courses out there, is what I'm teaching and sharing is I have 5 years of experience in, and it's what I do. Whereas, unfortunately, there are a lot of other, not all of them. I'm not trying to down anybody on these, but there are quite a few. Unfortunately, too many type of courses like this where it's built a lot more on theory, or the instructor who's giving it doesn't have the same kind of experience. It's not that bad a deal, but it's kind of like going to college and to learn how to learn social media versus learning directly from somebody who got 6 million followers on their YouTube channel and how they did it. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm really proud of that fact. And I've teamed up with someone else with the Amazon store who was really good but didn't have the funds to really grow and expand their business. The business was going fantastic, but they're just always taking every single penny they got to get more inventory, and they couldn't grow fast enough. And so I ended up funding quite a bit of money into the inventory itself, and so I was able to explode in a very similar situation with the drop shipment. So I did have to become an expert at it, and so I wanted to kind of bring those people on as panels as other alternatives of real businesses that I'm involved in with other experts that I've teamed up with, and we can just share really real things. So that's one of the 1 year things for at least the kind of call zoo type thing. I've got other things going on. But anyways, what else? There's other things on here too. Specific business problems on that end of it. Problems, goals, what is success, one other thing that's really good to go through. This takes a lot of work to do, by the way. You have to do a lot of real soul searching. You might go through this and then rewrite it. I found myself on the plane ride back reworking this again and again, and I'm still going to do it over the weekend, so it's still on top of mind awareness, because we're going to meet in another quarter and I've got to become accountable for my results on here. Bottlenecks in your company. What are bottlenecks? What's stopping you from moving forward on this? And then this is a really good one here. Ditch it. What kind of things in your business right now that you need to ditch that aren't getting you to where you want to go on here? Sources of fear and stress on here. So I think this is really good stuff on here. Anyways, I wanted to share with everybody a little insight on that. I'll get the PDF here later on, and also be towards the end of this end of it. But I think everybody should do this. And one question I wanted to ask, and I don't know if I have the time to do this, but I'm just curious if there's a need for it out there. I was thinking about possibly doing masterminds for the group, for people who were interested in doing them, and forming smaller groups. You really need maybe like around 3 or 4 people. I found is the best. You start to get above that, then it tends to get too diluted. I belonged in various types of masterminds where there's 20 people paying $20,000 a year to meet twice a year, stuff like this. But I think it's really important that you got to meet in person. You need to meet outside of your environment, so there's a travel expenses involved in it, and then meeting on that. But I might facilitate those based on my experience, and I know the benefit of it. When there's another slide. It's kind of out of order here, but when people think about working out and going to the gym, it seems pretty natural to have somebody come with you. I think the slides are worth a million words. Images are as good for anchoring things into your mind. But people think it's perfectly natural to, hey, if I'm going to work out, I should probably work out with a partner. Someone help me spot me and be accountable, stuff like this. But when people think about that for like business, it's like, oh no, I'm fine on my own. I'm the Lone Ranger. I can do this stuff. And I would argue not. We are really social creatures, and we work better in groups or in smaller packs, and hence just another kind of argument to support the idea of masterminds and getting involved in them on that end of it. But I was thinking about putting together some masterminds. If anyone's interested in those, and I would just contact my support. It says support.callzoo.com. I'm trying to get a feel for if anybody's interested in that. So, alrighty, so let's go ahead. Let me just look at the questions really quick while I got here, and I'll get on to the others. Okay. Sound. I think we're good. Audio. Okay, so punching bag, speed bag, yep. Home and skills, timing. Thank you, Morris. Lots of 2s for the question on that end of it. Okay, cool. Do we have the audio okay? Can you just type in a 1 if the audio is okay? I got some, I know it got disconnected earlier. I saw that right away. I put it back in. You just type in a 1 right now if I got some good audio. Audio. Someone type in a 1. It's dropping out. People are dropping out left and right, so I must have messed up the audio. Audio is a loop or something. Okay, so let me try this. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing. Is that better? Does that sound better? Nope. There's a problem with the audio. Darn it. There's some really good stuff to share too, so I don't want to. Much better. Yes. Okay, better. Alrighty, so we're good with the audio there. That's good. Thank you for that. And good. You can hear it now. Okay, very good. All right, I'll keep that close by. I want to go over some other things here, though, so I've got a couple of points here I want to go over. It's really important. These are some true-false questions for you to answer on here, and I'm looking at the chat box now. So for your niche profile, meaning your Firefox and your IP combined together, do you use those to set up your citations? True or false? What do you think? Type in the chat box, true or false. Would you use your Firefox IP address to set up your citations? On that, true or false? Well, the answer is true. You would, because you want to. You want to let Google know loud and clear, hey, I'm a local business owner. Here's my local Firefox. Here's my local IP address. I'm even logged into my Gmail account. And you see everything I do. And I'm doing what a local business owner would do. I'd go set up citations, right? So that's perfectly normal. How about this? Use your niche profile to set up your Web 2.0s. True or false? So the Web 2.0s that you get from us, a lot of people have gotten them. They've been really happy with them. We're happy to supply them. And true or false, would you log into your niche Firefox profile to set up and post content to your Web 2.0 sites? The answer is false. You do not. The reason is because if you do that, you're going to be sending out a loud message to Google that says, hey, I'm trying to game the system. I'm going over here to write some articles and send a backlink back to my site to hope I can rank in your search engine. So no, you do not set up any kind of backlinking whatsoever with your Firefox profile. You want to appear like these links are coming naturally from the worldwide community, and someone has decided that they're going to write about you or something and link back to your site. I hope that makes sense. Using your niche profile, Firefox IP, to log in to the Callzoo training. So would you take your niche profile and log into the Callzoo training? Yes or no? True or false? No, you would not on that end. And the reason you won't, it's false, is because you do not want Google to know that you're logging into some kind of training that could possibly teach you how to game the system on that end of it. So let me just check in real quick here. The chat box, I apologize for this. True, true, true. Okay, good. All right, so we're looking good there. Okay, let's continue on. Oop, I already showed you the answers. Pretend you don't know the answers. Okay. My home page is not indexed. Okay. Do I send backlinks to help index it? Yes or no? Well, you've certainly heard that before, right? My page is not indexed, so I should probably send some backlinks to it to get it indexed, right? No, absolutely not. Okay. And the reason is this. And you need to kind of understand this logic, is that it doesn't make any sense to the algorithms that your site is not even indexed and now it's getting found by other people, and then they want to tell the world about it by backlinking to your site. Do you see how that makes no sense? Okay. So no. You have to get indexed first before you can send any backlinks. There's actually more to the process, which we'll go over here. Should I send 1 to 2 links per week to my website? True or false? So it's not very many, right? 1 to 2 links, say just 1 link. That's only 4 links a month, right? It's not very much. 4 times 12 is 36 links out of the year. That's not very much, is it? False. I'm going to go over some specific examples of how you can tell how many backlinks you should be sending to your site in just a second here. I should add 2 to 4 posts per week to my site, to show content and show that I'm relevant, because that's what it's all about. Content is king, right? That's what we've all heard. True or false? What do you think? Type it in the chat box. Let me know where you are. False. This is absolutely false. So let me go over some concrete examples, and you can use these examples and this knowledge I'm going to teach you so that, where am I here? Okay, I think I'm here. Okay, nope, that's not the one I want to do, this one. Okay, so how do we tell how many backlinks to send to your site? Well, it's actually niche specific. And this is why, for CallZoom members, that the city that you start in, you just tell us the first three sites that are your competitor. Just give those to us, and we'll send you back these reports right here from our commercial Majestic account, so that you can analyze this. This is one of the reasons that you want to analyze this. Okay, so this particular site, at least from my IP address that I'm at, is ranking #1. Whether it really is or not is not the point. Okay, but so this is the phoenixhandyman.com, right? So I've got my backlinks here, and I'm checking out the backlinks. First of all, let's just make a note of all the backlinks. That's it. There's only 13. 13 backlinks. One's a redirect. Another one's deleted. There's some no follows in here. There's a frame. That's a picture. And the rest will do follow. And that's it. 13. They're ranking #1. 13. Now you come in and you start doing, so let's say 2 per week, which doesn't sound like a lot. It's only 8 a month. Okay, that's not reasonable. Okay, that's entirely too much for this particular niche on here. Okay, it would have to be a lot slower, and then you just need to do higher quality. So let's take a look at some of these on here. So first of all, this is, and by the way, this one it's ranking, it's I think a trust flow of 9. So, I mean, it's nothing. But the reason it doesn't have a higher trust flow is because it's #1 backlink, which is a trust flow of 26. The reason this doesn't get that much juice from this is quite easy. I think it's right here. It's because, you have to ask yourself, what's a quality link? I'm going to show you an example of quality link in a second from another site that's ranking #1, but on a much more competitive niche. This is it. This is their site right here. That's the link. What is this? This is where they got their website designed. Okay? And so this is what they got. This is not relevant, rich content. Let me show you what relevant, rich content looks like, and then that should really kind of give you an aha moment for when we're talking about some of the high trust Web 2.0s that we're handing out. So that's not that relevant at all on here. It's actually pretty junky on that. And the rest of these don't even have trust flows. Okay, so what do you think it would take to totally bust the chops on these? Well, if you overdo it, right? You're doing 1 to 2 backlinks on here per week. It's just it doesn't seem normal to Google. Why is the site that's ranking #1 only got some crummy backlinks to it, and all of a sudden here you come with these great content? That just doesn't seem right. You just need to beat these guys by a little bit. That's it. And really, what you could do is you could almost take one solid backlink from, say, they have a trust flow of a 9. Say you get one of our trust flows of a 10 or above, and we've been handing out 10s. We hardly ever hand out. It's usually above those. A lot of you have gotten 17, 18s and stuff like this. And you take that, and I'll show you in a minute an example of what a good backlink looks like, and that's the way you'd set up your Web 2.0. And then in addition to that, you want to use your crowdsource. It doesn't make any sense. There's some kind of algorithm that goes on. We don't know what the exact numbers are, but Google has been vocal about this. It's so easy to tell people that are gaming the system when they're getting more backlinks, even if they're quality backlinks, it doesn't matter, more backlinks to their site than they have searches. There's going to be a ratio there. It's not like you get 10 searches from 10 unique local addresses, and then all of a sudden you got 5 backlinks. That's a 50% ratio of people who are visiting your site. 10 people visit your site, and 5 of them stop and go, whoa, this handyman site is so important. I got to write this 500-page original article on my Web 2.0 site on my blog, and I got to link back to it. You see how that makes no sense? Okay. So we can help accelerate that process and be a little bit more aggressive if we need to be by using crowd search, because they're going to send local people looking for your keywords, looking for your brand name, spending time on your site, and then not going to anyone else's site in your niche and stopping. That tells Google, like, whoa, these guys are good. Okay? Alrighty, so let's go ahead now and look at another example here. This is San Diego DOI attorney. Highly competitive niche, right? I mean, if you can rank number 1 up here, you've literally got a site that's going to generate revenue over in excess of $1 million. So this is highly, highly competitive stuff. So let's see what they do. So here's their number 1 link right up here. This is the link that's given them the most kind of juice on that. And let's take a look at it. So this is an example of what a good quality link looks like. Okay, first of all, on here, I just want you to I'm just going to scroll down slowly and see if I have the do follow link on here. I don't have it on there. Okay. So what do we got here so far? We got some images, right? 1, 2, 3 images. We got a lot of rich content on here. And this is some good stuff. This is not some rehashed crappy stuff. Excuse me. And there's not a lot of outbound backlinks on this either. There's some references and stuff like this, but this is an example of a good quality article on here. So that's why on the Web 2.0s, I talk about 2 different kind of Web 2.0s. One where we do no more than a total of 6 or 5 link exchanges. One is going to be your outbound link, and then 5 others to other sites within the members community. And then we have articles on there that don't have any outbound links, and some that have just some going out to some relative authority sites, but not the wiki stuff. That's too obvious. But that's because we're trying to reproduce this kind of stuff. So when you have a really good Web 2.0 site that you get from us, that's why I say do the 1,200, 1,400 words, 3 pictures on here, and then you got 1 outbound link going to your site. This is why, and they have more links like this. Okay, this is why they're ranking number 1 in the San Diego area. Okay, so now let's go over the whole, when I asked you the question about, do we need to write 1 or 2 or 4 posts per month on this end of it because content is king, right? You got to remember, we're not writing blogs. These are not information sites. Google realizes this. These are local service providers. People come on there, they got to pay, they need a problem. They don't come to these sites for education. So how many do you do per niche? It depends what's there. So let's take a look at it. This site, toeproaz.com, is ranking number 1. Look how many pages. Like I just did the site : and then their domain. 7 pages. Super thin site, but ranking number 1. Okay, so let's just take a look at it. So they got their home page, they got services, they got a contact us page, they have a vehicle impound page, about us, a PPI page, I have no idea what that is, and a site map. So they don't even have 3 of these pages are not even like real pages. Okay, that's how thin this site is, but it's ranking number 1. Why? Because Google knows. I mean, people don't go to a towing site and go, oh, I need to learn more about towing. I got to learn how to change my tire. I need to learn about emergency roadside safety. They don't do it, okay? So you could add a few extra pages to your site if you're competing with these guys, and you'd crush them, okay? In addition to, you got to be just a little bit better with everything else. Their backlinks and stuff like this. Which just makes me, I'm just curious. I didn't look at their backlinks, and it's kind of a habit of mine. I like to look, so I just want to look real here. If you don't mind entertaining me for a second. Just curious, because I know that they're raking it in. So this right here, so we got 17 trustful, so that's good, and the citation is 15, so the numbers are less, so they're not doing any kind of spammy links on here. So let's take a look at their backlink profile. See what they've got. First of all, they only have 11 backlinks, okay? And all of them are trustful of none except for the first five. So the first five in the shopping, auction, transportation, and business, that's probably niche related. These are both images, they're not even articles. Okay, it's not even contextual, which is a stronger link on here. Recreation, roads, and highways, so that's niche related, right? Business, transportation again. And this, so if you were in this niche, this is why we do the three top sites. So you can come back and take a look at these and go, okay, is it possible? Could I get a backlink from here? Let's just take a look at it. Is it a directory or someplace I could get a backlink from on this end of it? And you know, some other towing site on here. It's another location on this end of it. But anyways, enough of that. So I hope that helped out. I hope that answers some questions on that end of it. I will get to all the questions afterwards. Let me just get through the questions that members sent in here. We'll get through those. We'll get rock and rolling here. Alrighty, so I want to thank everyone who took the time and the effort to send in questions. You get rewarded because I spotlight them and I answer them here live on the call. So, if I decide to start, this is a good question, by the way. If I decide to start in 2 states, same niche, with 2 completely different local profiles, will I still have the trust in Google's eyes when I reach 5 to 7 cities ranking on page 1? Okay, so a couple of things here. Google's has always been about local. They were way ahead of that curve. That's why they dominate. They saw the stats early on, and they knew it was just going to grow more. And the stats are something crazy. It's something like 70% of people. It's something really staggering. It's like overwhelming. The amount of people who go online that are looking for something local. Hence, they decided to do some really outlandish things. I mean, just think about, from a business perspective, their vision. It's unbelievable. They're like, okay, we are going to literally map every single street in the world. Can you imagine somebody at a board meeting? Yes, I've got an idea here, and this is why we need to do it. We're going to get these cars with these cameras, and we're going to have people driving around, and they're going to film every single building and house in the world. How insane is that? Well, not that insane, but that's the vision there. That's outrageous, right? That's amazing. Think about their other one. They're like, okay, this is how important local is to us. We're going to actually build the whole concept behind Google Maps was we're going to build local websites for local business owners, whether they want them or not, and we're going to create an algorithm to do that. That's outlandish. Think of the thought process behind that. I mean, that's the way, you and I and everyone else on this call needs to be thinking about their business. It's just like, it's just so huge thinking. But anyways, that's why they're number one. And they've literally changed the course of history. But so anyways, if you decide to start in 2 states on here, we really want to, because Google is so much about local, that you really want to throw away all these concepts about, hey, I'm going to be building this lead gen site, and they're on top of lead gen sites. Okay, just there's articles about this. So this is why, and we saw this comment. So this is why we've implemented this in our businesses. It really helps out. So if you start in 2 states, what you want to do, our recommendations are, if you're starting it simultaneously in 2 states, although we recommend you don't do that. But if you do, this is how you do it. Let me go back and tell you why I recommend you do not. It's better if you gain trust. Let's say you're in Houston, you got a Houston IP address, you got a Houston Firefox, you've developed, and you got a phone verified Gmail account, and you're always logged into that. So and the reason is you just want Google to just, hey, this is what I'm doing, and hey, I've got the webmaster tools, and you can see my activity, and I'm all about Houston or whatever. This is where I'm starting, and then you rank on page 1. Now you've gained a lot of trust. I would take that, if you're going to then move to another state, I would take that same Firefox profile, but I would get a different IP address that would match the next city in a different state that you're going to go to. Okay, but it's the same profile. So you're the same user. You got the same Gmail account. because you're the owner of these companies and you're growing and expanding out. And obviously, you've probably moved, yourself location-wise from Houston, over to Seattle, Washington, but you're still the same Firefox profile, and you've got this still the same Gmail account that you logged on, and you just let Google know, hey, track everything I'm doing. That would be the best way to do it. And if you're going to do 2 states at one time, which I think you're spreading yourself thin if you do that, I would do 1 at a time. But if you do 2, same concept, same Firefox, same Gmail. When you log in one to Houston and the other one into Seattle. Okay. And then as you go out and you reach and grow, and let's say you get on beyond 5, 7, 6 cities, then just choose a particular IP address ideally where you first opened up. And that looks perfectly natural. You're like, hey, this is the headquarters. Um, this is where we've grown locally. It's always been the same account here. We've got our Google Masters for all our sites. We've done all of our citations, all this kind of stuff. So you got nothing to hide. Okay, and that's natural looking. Okay, that's what we're trying to do here. In Module 3, Video 5, if I understand correctly, you can use the same photo for each page. Yes. So if you got one city and you got 2 to 3 photos that you buy, you don't buy the rights to them. Do not swipe them from Google Images. All right. On that, but you need to resave each photo. So if I have 30 separate cities, I need to resave the photo of a plumber working on sink 30 times. Oh boy, this is the wrong perspective on here. Each time with a different name and alt text. Okay, so first of all, you want to take those images and you want to clean out all of the information that's on them. I go over that in the course, but all photos contain information, so you want to clean it off, and then what you want to do at the end of it is that you want to add the location of it and use a descriptive word, and use that same photo. So it's just like naming a doc file or something. It's really, really simple stuff here. So if I understand your reasoning for resaving each photo with a different name and alt tag for each page or post, but if you have a total of 20 photos for your original page and post and having 30 cities, that would be 600 photos to keep track of. This is like a total wrong thinking on here, okay? This is like the overwhelmed fear thinking perspective. So look, if you got a home page and you got 3 photos on there, and you're not going to open up 30 cities at once, okay? All we're saying is just change the alt tags to reflect the location. That's it. Nothing. Very quick. Literally, if you sat down, it would take you a couple minutes to do. Now, for the posts and stuff like that, no, those are generic. You don't need to do that. Only the home pages. But let me just kind of look at, this is part of my response to this, because I see this happen a lot. People either try to take a system that what I'm teaching that perfectly works, okay, and then they try to overcomplicate it. And they try to add other things to it. Like they're already trying to improve it before they've even done it. Okay? Don't. Please just follow the directions. Okay? And this is an example of like almost kind of seeking out it's the wrong mindset. It's like, no, I shouldn't be thinking about this. I should be thinking of processes and systems and how quickly I can get this done instead of like 600 photos, blah, 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 alt text, da, 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 da. It was like there was someone else that posted in the Facebook group. And I don't want to point anybody out. And I'm not coming down hard on anybody. This is just tough love. Person didn't like to write. I'm like, okay, a lot of people don't like to write. But sometimes when you're first starting out your company, you kind of got to wear multiple hats and do things that you don't want to do, or you're going to have to, if you have the means to, you need to hire somebody to do it. Okay? So anyways, so look, this is the perspective that should be on here. You got 30 cities ranking on page 1, and this is very conservative numbers, by the way. You got 30 cities bringing an average of 10 leads per week, and you're charging $15 per lead. Okay? All right, that's $18,000 per month. I'm going to guess that's probably going to change your goddamn life. Okay? Or $216,000 per year. Now you can work and live wherever you want in the world, freely. you live in Costa Rica for a couple of months, you go down south to Colombia, maybe do a little house shopping, go down to Argentina, have some fantastic steak. These are all things we do, by the way, okay? So this will change your life. But if when I started, I was focused on 30 photos, and I got to do, I got 30 cities, and I got to do 600 photos, and I got to attach a little city name to each one. It's like, who cares? That's not what you should be focused on. You should be focused on how you're going to build a team to do this, and you're not even getting to 30 cities right away. You're going to do one city at a time until you get to a tipping point to where you start to notice that when you added another city, it just kind of floated up to the top with hardly any work whatsoever. That's kind of when Google says, "Hey, you're the good guy or gal." Okay. Thank you for the question, by the way. So please keep them coming in, even if I come down on you hard on it. It's because I care. So next question. Can all the service and regular posts go up when the page goes live? Or do we want to space them out? Service and regular posts. I would space, okay, so the service posts, I would have them go up. The reason is a service post really serve a really good indicator that your site is really rich with relevant content. Because if you're like got a handyman site and you got a services that you do is like drywall, fix leaky faucets, general carpentry, some remodeling, then you're going to have some links that go out to there in your list of services to other pages that talk about that kind of stuff. That's good. That's really good, rich content. It just shows Google that, hey, you've got some really relevant kind of stuff here. As far as the posts go, study your competition like I showed you earlier with the towing site. They had 7 pages. I think 3 of them were, one was like a site map and 2 others were nothing. So you're only going to do as many posts to just be a little bit better than your competition. And you know what? Your service post may be enough. Okay, I have a question of whether I can use expired domains as a main site for a niche. If so, how many times can it be dropped in a certain time? All right. So ideally you want 0 drops, but I think 1 drop is fine. I've purchased a lot. And if you don't know what a drop is, don't worry about it. This person knows what it is. But it's basically how many times it's kind of transferred over owners, basically is what it is. So if it dropped once, that means one person let it expire, another one got it. And then so it's kind of like buying a used car. How many owners did it have? You just want it. Ideally, you'd want a used car that has 1 owner. So 1 drop is fine. Any more than that, I get a little bit suspicious, and I wouldn't do it. But the thing about this, we've tried this before, is that it works. It'll help you out. But Google's getting really smart about this stuff. You gotta make sure that site is almost dead on the same niche as you're in. Okay, it's as close as humanly possible. I mean, if you can find a domain name that's just got, it checks off all the check boxes, like it's an amazing site, and it's the exact same niche as you, and it's like $300, I would buy it immediately. Or $500, I'd buy it right away. Something like that, which is hard to find, would save you a tremendous amount of time. But don't force something. Don't come in and try to get something that's kind of a general site and force it into a niche. It ain't going to make sense to Google. Okay. By the way, if I go back the slide previously on that, if you just get a brand new domain and you do what I'm telling you, it's going to rank fine too. My question is about Yelp. Okay. Before I get into reading this question here, I just want to make a couple of comments about citations. If you haven't gone over the modules and citations that I wrote about, citations, when you just step back and just look at really what they are a pure, it's genius what they did. It is a pure lead gen system for marketing companies that offer services to local businesses. How would you like it if every single day you had 50 to 100 to 200 businesses put in their full information, their contact information, and their cell number, that they had to get a text from. Okay? I mean, you got their cell number that you've verified. You got their name, you got everything on that, but how easy is it to contact them? Plus, you're telling them, hey, we might contact you, blah, blah, blah. And that, what? To sell you stuff. But they've sold it. How did they sell it? They sold it to the world like this. And this is how, big pharma and big food industries work and stuff like this as well. As they sold you, and politics too, they sold you on the idea that you needed this. You got to have these citations. In fact, one is not enough. You got to have 50 or 60 citations. Can you imagine that? 50 or 60 boiler room telemarketing companies that just got your leads in. 50 or 60 of them because you went out and you did one of these YEX things, these YXT things, which is a whole nother scam. And, man, your phone's going to blow up. And any of you who've just gone out and done 1 or 2 citations, okay, and if you don't exercise our blacklisting these numbers and calls, they're relentless. You can scream at them. Don't call me anymore. Guess what? You get another call next day. Sometimes they call on the hour, every hour. Oh, looking for the business owner, Mr. Winters. Could you please call us back? We'd like to blah, blah, blah. Confirm some things about your Yelp listing. Oh, you want to confirm some things about Yelp listing? That sounds really important. Maybe there's a problem. I should call them back. Hey, Mr. Winters, they're so glad that you called back. We noticed that you're not ranking on page 1. Blah, 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 blah. And it's just like they'll just call and call and call and call. This has nothing to do with ranking your site. There's a total bullshit. So I suggest 3. I give you 7 of my top ones. They're all do follow, so at least we use them as a tier 1 to send some backlinks to, and you get some backlink juice to it. Okay, that's it. Now, Yelp, one of the best out there. They're a multi-million-dollar company. If you want to play what I talk about in there, if you want to play the Yelp game, it's a no-follow link. You're going to have to do a confirmation. Okay, you're going to have to do a phone confirmation, and you can do it using the Twilio/Callzoom numbers. But you need to wait until they've found you. Okay, in other words, you've got your 3 to 4 other listings that I've recommended. Using them as a tier 1, so you're sending some backlinks to it. So those are getting indexed. And then they will find you, and they will put in your name and address in their system, and then you just go in and claim it. That's the best way to do it. So it sounds like in here this person didn't do that, nor do you have to have this. And if you want this, and if you want Yelp to work for you on your niche, you can take your individual listing on Yelp, get some reviews for it, which is all going to be total black hat. And Yelp's all over that, so you got to be really careful. It takes a long time and effort to do that. A lot of different IP addresses and stuff. I would spend your time, if you want to add another property on your front page. It'll be one of the next few modules that I put up in the course, and it's how to do your business Facebook profile. And then within the community, we can easily give each other. We can do a rating exchange. And it's not regulated or anything on that. You just need a few, and you send some backlinks to it, and you're just going to rank on page 1. Okay, and that's a heck of a lot less work. Has just as much as authority as a Yelp listing. So in other words, I'm not a big fan of the Yelp. So anyways, okay. So it says in here. So I went to Yelp in Melbourne, and the categories the top, and it would not respond. It was locked. They probably thought you were spam if you're locked. Then I decided I might join Yelp, so I did, and I got an email, confirmed it. No access to further categories. You're definitely locked out. There's a lot of spamming going on with Yelp. They're all over it. They've got an entire department of like 50 employees just dedicated to cutting off the spammers. I wanted to go to the U.S. dashboard for San Diego, and I had the same experience, but it was a different look and feel. Has there been any major change? There's not been a major change. You just look like a spammer to them. Okay, so what you need to do if you're committed and you really want to spend a lot of time and effort in this is that you need to do what I said earlier. You've got to get your other pages indexed. You've got to get your other just few citations out there fully indexed. let them find you first. You go in, you type in your business brand name, voila, it shows up, and then it says a little thing on there of, hey, um, please, I want to claim this business and stuff, and then you follow through their processes through that. Now, that being said, just because I wasn't that updated on Yelp, because we're just in 2 niches, but we're really deep on 2 niches. So we haven't, it's not like we're out getting Yelps every week. We're all done with that. So I thought, I'm kind of outdated on this. So I went in with the example dummy site that I'm giving, the Done Now Handyman site, and I went in and I got a Yelp, and I didn't wait for the list. I didn't wait for them to find my site. I just went in, entered it in, and but I made sure that I was in my IP address. Everything is clean. There's no leaks. I'm totally local. Everything's cool. And logged in, and it went through fine. They said, we will, after I enter my address, they said, it'll take 48 to 72 hours. We'll have a review team look at your website, and if it looks okay, we'll approve it. And they did. And then after they approved it, I'll even show you what it is. And then after they approved it, I'll show you where it is right now. And then, so just so you don't think I'm pulling your leg, Done Now Handyman, and it's right here. Done Now. So what they did is they went ahead and approved it. I got an email back. Of course, the email that I used was the email was my Gmail account that's branded. It's like Done Now Handyman at gmail.com, something like that. And then they needed a phone verification, so that was easy. I just took my phone, I forwarded it to my Skype number, then I clicked the button to say verify, and they gave me a code, 4-digit code, and they said, we're going to call you now. When we call, you enter in that code, and I did, and it was confirmed. That simple. I just did it for because I wanted to be up to date on this kind of stuff. So it works. If you got locked out or something like that, then your addresses and IP addresses were probably all messed up, and you weren't looking local. But I was looking local. I entered in, Phoenix. I'm a Phoenix IP address. I'm a Phoenix profile that doesn't have any other IPs attached to it, so I'm totally cool. Alrighty, so let's go back to the questions on here. Okay, so I went ahead and crossed out this person's URLs for their privacy in here. But here's some examples of sites. I'm wondering whether I should abandon or start anew, or can I salvage these? I have terrible rankings. So the first 3 on here, I put the X's on here. They're XXX, which is the service name, by the way. This is not it, but it's like www.plumbersanfrancisco.com, www.plumbersanjose.com, www.plumber, Austin. So first of all, that's super spammy, and I would avoid that at all costs. And so we have 3 sites in 3 different cities. The problem with going back with these, and you have terrible rankings on them anyways, is, and let's just go the fourth one is, and I put Y's in here, was a completely different niche, Seattle. Again, the service name plus the city. Just not a good idea, because nobody, other than SEO spammers, names their business, chiropractor Seattle. I mean, just nobody does that. So you want to do branded, like I said earlier, and just think about your efforts and think about being focused. Don't be that machine gun that's just like spreading bullets everywhere. Be like the sniper that's very accurate. Okay, don't be like somebody like trying to fight Mike Tyson and you're just out there just swinging blows, because he's very precise. He knows exactly what he's aiming for. If you really study what he does, he's got like 3 different moves and that's it. But he's going to get you every time on those because he's precise. So you want to be precise in your efforts. So what can you do? You want to try to rank for the same niche in 3 different domains and get no authority. So you get, when I take one domain that's like a branded name, and I rank that one branded name in San Francisco, San Jose, and Austin versus 3 separate sites, which one gains more authority? The single site does, because that single site is now ranking in 3 different cities. It has all the backlinks going to all these. It's just a much juicier, more trustworthy site rather than doing separate. So I would put all your efforts towards rebuilding a fresh new site under the new rules that I've set out here, rather than going, you know what, I want to go back and revisit this stuff. You need to look at, do you want to be spreading yourself out thin, or do you want to just be specialized and focused and um, have all your efforts basically grow and grow momentum on top of each other? Um, and they're all spammy. So, and you've got 2 niches basically here. And I would really encourage you to do one niche, go deep in 30, 40, 50 cities with one domain. It's going to pay off for you in the long run, rather than being all spread out all over the place. Analytics are a mess, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I think I answered that. I use Instant Link Indexer to index my backlinks. Congratulations. And then check to see if they were indexed using the index checking. Okay, so doing everything that we're doing according to the index checking, they are indexed. Okay, so if they're indexed, that's great. Good job on that end of it. There's also a hot tip that I put in there. If you take some of these Web 2.0s that we give you guys and gals out there, if you just do like the widget on the sidebar, and you add, those are do follow links, and you add like some of our favorite providers, click here, go that, and you use that to help index some of your sites and then take it off your Web 2.0. It works extremely well. But so does this. So just want to give some options to other people out there. So it's already been indexed. Congratulations. Then he went into his webmaster tool to see if it was linking back to his site, and it wasn't. And the reason is because that's going to lag. That information there is going to lag by 2 to 3 months at least. But I don't know your exact backlink. So if it's like a form link, and you like left a post, probably that entire page was already indexed before you. So don't confuse that with the new one that's indexed, if that makes any sense. I'm going to assume that because you look like you're pretty smart going through this process anyway, that probably wasn't the case on here. And it's probably just a case, not probably, it is a case then more than likely of Google's webmaster tool is just not always going to show that kind of stuff. Okay, so now we're on to questions and answers from here. I'll copy and paste them in. We're doing pretty good, about an hour here. And just do that, open that up. And okay, so what I'm going to do here, okay, so just bear with me while I copy and paste these questions in before I answer them. It's a little slow process, but it helps everyone out who watches the replays on here. Is there a downside risk to switching hosting companies? I don't think so at all. No, absolutely not. I mean, just the only downside I could possibly think of is that your hosting company you'd be on some shared IP address who has a bunch of bad characters on it, but that's a really low risk. So no, absolutely not. Okay, next question. Okay. Okay, so this is a good question on here. And the question is, let me put it up here. How many searches do you do for your brand name with crowd search on that? And that's kind of a little bit of a tricky question on that. You don't want to get too crazy, but because it's so natural looking, you really have no fear of being penalized. That's the cool thing about it. So it's not like you can over search for your site. Okay, so there's no problem with that. But you take they're going to give you a suggested number. If it seems really low, you could go higher than that. It's all going to depend on the number of searches. So I would start out, and if they suggest something that seems like extremely low, like 5 a month or something, no way. I mean, just at least 5 a week, or 2 to 3 per day. Depends on the niche and how many searches that are in there. But particularly with the brand name, more than likely you're going to want to go higher than what they have their own built-in algorithm. You're probably going to want to go higher than that. Again, if it comes out like 10 a month, that's just not going to work. So you want to up that, and then just keep really close tabs of looking at your keyword. Obviously, your brand names should be ranked on page 1 anyways. But what this says is it gives credibility to your entire site, so that Google starts to take attention to you, pay attention to you. Then you probably, what's going to happen is you want to keep track of your main keywords to see when your page starts to get to page 10 or less. No, page 10, 9, 8, 5, 4, up there for your main kind of juicy keywords. And that's when I would start to switch over to those and mix in brand names every once in a while. But brand names are really good to start out with. But I would say something, if you're already on page 1 there, and if in your particular niche for your keywords, like at least 250 on the end of it, I think you can get away kind of safely with maybe around 10 to 20 per week. That's gonna be quite a bit for a branding. I would go with a lower number, 10 per week, and then keep a close eye on your other pages and how it's affecting the ranking for those, because you really want to then at that point, what we're trying to do with the branding is Google likes branding, but then the other thing they like is they understand when the person goes to the website what they're looking for. So don't think that they don't. They do, and see if it helps pull. It will help pull up your main keyword for your homepage. Okay, what is the best way to get started? Okay, so I'm not going to put the question in here, but I'll answer it. What is the best way to get started for a beginner? Get involved in the course. That would be the best way. The course is extremely beginner friendly, and I'll put a link in here of that. And I think that we probably have one of the best Facebook groups around. And we have some really, really great members in there, and very, very user friendly and beginner friendly. So if you're beginner friendly, that's fine. There's people in the group that definitely are, and there's some more experienced members in there that come in and help out. Obviously, our support desk is really good at that stuff too. So, next question: what? Okay, so I'm not gonna. I'll answer this question, but I'm not gonna write it down. It's because it's just been covered so much before, and that is we do a step-by-step for each citation of the recommendations. Yes, that's in module, whatever the module is. I think it's 9 for citations, step-by-step, and the modules and the citations that I recommend. Off topic, are you going to offer a course in setting up Amazon stores? That was part of the goal for the mastermind. I was going to do that. Is there any okay? Is there any chance? And let me go ahead and copy this question down here. There's always a lot of kind of confusion and concern around IP addresses and profiles. I wish I had a really good way to kind of explain it to bring it home. Is there any chance, as we are all using the same proxy providers and probably hitting the same major cities, that there could be several lead gen sites popping up using the same IP addresses? That's always a possibility on that, but keep in mind that if you were really locally, say in Houston, and you were in Houston, that you're going to be sharing your IP address with a few thousand people. So that's perfectly normal. I wouldn't have any fear about that whatsoever. Good question. Thank you for that. Okay. Okay. Lisa asks in here, I'm a newbie. I think this training is too advanced for new. Maybe what I'm talking about here might seem it, but if you're actually in the actual training itself, it's very basic. Like I said before, the group is very helpful, and our support staff is extremely helpful. Okay, this is a good question. Let me write this down here. Okay, so um, so people are now, the group is kind of getting to this stage of the game. So my Web 2.0 is ready, meaning you've probably put up your posts. Anyways, there's instructions on that in the module. So assuming that you've done that, you've gotten yours ready for link exchange on the end of it. And I know from checking the support tickets that there are other members that are at that stage too. So how do you go about the link exchange exactly over the Facebook? Yes, you're going to do it over the Facebook group. Just basically say, I've got a Web 2.0, and this is the general theme of it on here. And you don't have to get matched themes. If I were to go back, open up my browser, and we start looking through the attorney site, what you'd find is, yes, the number one was kind of law society rated, but the rest of them are not. So this whole idea that every single backlink that you get has to be exactly niche specific is false. I'm already teaching and showing you how to find niche relevant stuff locally in your own backyard, in the same city that you're in. And I'm encouraging that you take one of your Web 2.0s on here, or maybe even a couple of them, and you make it niche specific and you repurpose it. You got plenty there. Now you're wide open for link exchanges, okay? You just make sure that you're following the same link exchange. Um, just make an announcement in the Facebook group. We're in the beginning stages of this, so just make the announcement in the group. And if your posts tend to kind of float down, I'll probably pin it to make sure that it stays on top of the Facebook group, so that we keep that going and that members are always aware of it where it's there. And as long as everyone's following the same rules with that, it's cool stuff. So it's really going to work out great. Do you set a no index for legal pages, disclaimers? That's a great question. Let me copy that. And the answer to that is no, you want those indexed. In fact, what's really interesting, and I noticed this years ago, is that when we would block off a site from Google, and we show you how to do that in the course, from the search engines, and then we had our legal or disclaimer pages, our home page, our about us page, our post, blah blah blah. We had everything up, and we go boom, we'd just let it free to the internet, and then we do our Google webmasters every single time, not some of the time, but 100% of the time. The very first pages to get indexed were what? The legal and disclaimer. Google really likes those, so don't block them off. Okay, so let me go ahead and copy this one. Just bear with me when I copy and paste these. Okay, so the question is, I have a whole bunch of unused .com domains with keyword and city in the same, similar to RG, plastic surgeon in Los Angeles. Should I not renew them, or should I let them go? There's a couple things you could do with those. It's way too spammy, first of all. But if you already got them and they're like a little, like almost a year old, and they're already indexed and stuff, is you could use them as for backlinks to your site, and you could use these as a tier 1. So you could send some good backlinks, relevant backlinks, like surgical type of stuff, backlinks to your plastic Los Angeles, and then pass those on to your site. That's one way you could repurpose those. If they've got a decent trust flow now, it would count as a very relevant site. If it's got good content on it, you could repurpose it that way. That would be the best thing. But if it's kind of not done and it's just not even a developed site, I would just forget about it. Okay. All right, let me copy and paste this question here into question blocks, and bam. Alrighty, best way to deal with larger cities, for example, lead gen. say 50 to 100 smaller cities, suburbs within 35 miles. What's the best way to cover the area for lead gen to set up Google My Business listings? Okay, so if you're going to go into larger cities on that end of it, okay, so let me just rephrase the question to make sure. I kind of probably mumbled when I read that, but let me just rephrase the question. So basically, let's say you're like in a Chicago market. So Chicago has a lot of other outside markets into it. It's got Aurora and a whole bunch of other larger suburban areas outside of there. So the question is, should I be setting up, like individual pages and business listings for these places? And it depends on the search volume. So the nice thing about with the Google Keyword Tool is you could literally take, Aurora, which is a suburb maybe around 15 miles or so, but it's kind of the greater area of Chicago. And you could see what the searches are in that particular area. And if the searches are significant for you, then it might be worth doing. But just to say there's a whole bunch of smaller cities out there, maybe the search volume is not worth your time and effort, because then you got to do a whole new page and stuff like this. So you got to kind of weigh out. Is it better for me to write a whole new homepage, original content, all that kind of stuff for, Seattle, Washington, or Aurora? Seattle, Washington, which got 2 million people in there in the greater metro area, or Aurora, which got, 175,000 people or 75,000 people. You're going to have to do the same exact work. Which one's going to return you more? So I would really suggest when you take something like this, go to the larger cities and just hit the larger meaty places where the most traffic is coming across you. Okay. Then after you've exploited 50 cities doing that, which is going to take a considerable amount of time and effort, then if you want to swing back and you want to look at some of the smaller areas around, then you could do that. But I think even then your time would be better staying in front of the major traffic. And then if you had your 50 cities up, then asking yourself, okay, can I get another property up? I've got my site up. How about getting a Facebook page up? How about now taking one of my citations and keep throwing links at those? So now I've got 3 properties up on page 1 for a major city like Chicago proper, rather than just Aurora. I hope that makes sense. Alrighty. Coolly. I missed a few minutes of the Webby. Yeah, there's the always. So I'll put the PDF link up now, and it'll be across the. But where is that? Nope, that's not it. Hold on a second. There we go. Okay, so here's the PDF for the mastermind end of it. If you're interested in doing a mastermind, it's going to be paid on that. I would lead them and I would match people up, and just contact my support and let me know. For those of you who are new on the call, there are some on here that are new, and you're kind of wondering what the heck is all this about, and you want to learn more about it. Just go check out that link there. So, okay, so that's it. I'm going to go ahead and wrap her up. I think we've done a good job there. I'll get this rendered immediately after this phone call, and we'll have 2 PDFs. We'll have the slideshow here and the mastermind questions on that end of it. And that's it. So, remember, if you're out there, whatever efforts you're doing, it doesn't matter whatever your life, but particularly in business, focus on being accurate, being deadly accurate and focused on what you want to do, rather than just kind of being a machine gunner, just kind of spraying everywhere. Because if you're a machine gunner and you're just spraying bullets everywhere, a really good sniper will just pick you off in a minute. Even if it's 10 snipers against 200 of you who have unlimited ammo and machine guns, who's going to win that battle? The snipers are. Okay, because they're just going to pick you off and wait for you to be weak, just like Tyson does. He waits for you to be weak. He looks for the exact position to get in. He targets exactly, target your business exactly, target your goals exactly by belonging to a mastermind, going through the questions, having other people feedback and give you And you can't do this kind of stuff alone. It's just like working out. You don't work out without a spotter, right? And that seems perfectly natural for most people. Like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But when they look at our business, they think that it just doesn't. Really? Well, that's why you need masterminds. So my name is Chris Winters. Talk to you on the next webinar. Take care. Bye bye.